Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Commodity Podcast, your weekly podcast for car, motorcycle, and lifestyle enthusiasts alike. I'm your host, Gunter from Commodity Los Santos, the number one destination for automotive tuning and customization. Now you can watch us each week. Enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome back to the Commodity Podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, Gunter, and welcome to episode 14 of the Commodity Podcast, a podcast for motorcycle and car enthusiasts alike. This week, we have a lot to catch up on, mainly my car rotation for the month and life outside of podcasting. For the past 2 weeks, I've decided to hold off on posting any new podcast episodes. Mainly, I've been focusing on the test drive series, which is a new series I start about a month ago. I've made some changes in terms of scheduling for the channel. So we have a test drive series will be on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the podcast series will continue, but on Saturdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the main reason for holding off on the episodes is mainly two reasons. The first is it's back to school time. You know, I'm a dad. I don't even think I ever mentioned this on the podcast, but I am a proud dad of an 11-year-old son who is entering the 6th grade in about a week from the day that this podcast airs. And, you know, I've been taking these last few days of the summer to just make sure that we have as much fun as we can. I remember when I was a kid, it always seemed like those last few days of summer leading up to the first day of school was always dreadful. And I'm trying to make sure that that's not the feeling that he's feeling. So, you know, taking a few days, just, you know, playing in the park, taking him out, just things that he would like to do. Lately, he got into roller skating, so I've been teaching him that. Also basketball, we've been shooting hoops. So I guess just taking time to do all my dad duties is what I've been doing. And aside from that, to be honest, GTA has been slow. For the past 2 weeks, I want to say it's been boring as far as what has been coming out. I mean, it's not like this for every player. I'm pretty sure there's certain game modes that some players would like to play. And if there's double money on that game mode, then that might work out in their favor. But for me, I felt like most of the discounts were on businesses that are already owned. And the double money was on game modes that I don't often play. So as far as just, you know, recording content and putting out video, I just feel like right now I want to focus more on the test drive series. And I'll continue to do the podcast and maybe in this tone, whereas I'm just, you know, more laid back and talking based on how I feel and not necessarily what I think people want to hear. So I logged on a few times, you know, to play. I've been grinding mainly for the test drive series. And currently I'm at 30 million, which is, I don't know. I can tell the last time I reached 30 million, but I'm there, which is not too bad from last week's ending balance of 26 million. So all in all, just, you know, taking things slow. I apologize if I'm not producing the content on a weekly schedule, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that when I do come out with a podcast episode is that it's worth, you know, listening to, or there's content that people want to know about and not just recording for the sake of recording. So I hope you guys understand. I apologize in advance, but I will try to focus more on maybe, you know, how I make money, how I maintain the amount of money that I have, purchasing decisions and stuff like that. As a quick side note, while browsing through Twitter, I did see that Take-Two Interactive CEO Strauss Zelnick went on to CNN, and I want to say he confirmed, maybe not. I was able to find a video. Let's hear what Mr. Zelnick had to say.
It was delayed, and so now May 26, 2026.
Yes, got that right.
Level of conviction there?
Well, my level of conviction is very, very high, obviously.
So that's going to happen. How much of the Rockstar team is working on this?
That is such a great question. Look, we try not to pump expectations, right? I think Rockstar's whole stock and trade is to have these extraordinary expectations and still to beat them. I know that's their goal. I know it's going to be an amazing game. The rest we'll see in the fullness of time.
So it seems, based on Mr. Zelnick's response, he's not confirming the date outright, but more so steering the conversation towards facts. If I'm reading into what he's saying correctly, like, what the company's actually working on, and being more reserved in his response versus what we've seen in the past. So, using phrase like release window instead of confirming the exact date, if that makes any sense. Ultimately, with Grand Theft Auto 6 being the most anticipated game, the last thing I think any CEO want to do, especially in his position, is to confirm on a date that Rockstar might not be able to commit to. But to be fair, there are other games that the company is working on aside from GTA. There's Red Dead, there's NBA 2K6, there is Borderland that releases next month. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure the weeks leading up to the release date we'll hear more. I've mentioned in a previous episode about car rotation, or specifically my car rotation. These are cars and motorcycles that I use on a monthly basis before rotating to another option for the following month. Now, this month, I have 3 cars in my rotation. And these 3 cars are actually cars that, if I had to start over the game again, these were the cars that I would probably try to get and then build collection from there. But those 3 cars was the Comet Retro Custom, the Comet S2 Cabrio, and the Sentinel GTS. Both the Comet Retro Custom and the Comet S2 Cabrio were mainly used to travel like long distance across the map. The Sentinel, on the other hand, I use mainly for the salvage yard missions and both the money laundering missions for smoke on the water and the car wash. When driving each vehicle, especially in first person, my experience is that each vehicle has like a unique characteristics. And I mean, I know this is a game, but if you're playing in first person mode and you're listening with headphones, each car has each car has its own unique characteristics. Like, for example, the S2 Cabrio with the top down and high speed has a lot of wind noise. And as you're playing, you can literally hear the noise. Or while driving the Comet Retro, the interior is way better than just the base design. So it's I guess what I'm trying to say is it's more a pleasant experience or a pleasant cockpit view to drive in the game. The Sentinel GTS, on the other hand, is to me just perfect. I've been waiting for a new BMW inspired car for a while now, and I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted the M4 chassis instead of the G80, but I'm glad with the G80 body style. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are really, really happy that this specific model is in the game. And I mean, I can see that from like what I'm seeing on Instagram, like videos that I'm seeing that are being posted to, what I see just playing the game. Chances are if you log in, you're going to find someone driving the car. So yeah, I'm happy it's there. Plus in first person, they put that attention to detail that is needed for this particular car. So in real life, the G80, you can actually hear the turbo sound, and in the car, you can in the game, you can actually hear the same turbo sound for the Sentinel GTS. The only thing is you have to be within 4,000 to 6,000 RPM, and you'll hear it. It's like a faint sound. For next month, I think I'm going to keep the GTS. I just purchased the Dinka Conjo, which is based on the first gen Honda Civic Type R from 1997 to 1998. Shameless plug, but test drive video coming soon for the Conjo, so look out for that. Maybe I'll replace the Comet Retro Custom with the Conjo. And for the Comet S2, I'll replace that with maybe the Reinhardt. Seems like a good option. More space. I don't really carry much people, but there's times where you play and you meet some randos and you have this space to drive with them, so you will. So maybe the Reinhardt. I have about a week left in terms of making my picks, so no stress. And once I decide what is going to be my next 3 cars or 2 cars for the next month, then I'll be sure to let you guys know in either the following episode or the episode after that one. Staying on the topic of cars, here's my top recommended cars to pick up this week while on discount. Over at Premium Deluxe Motorsports Showroom, you can pick up the Pegasus Ignis for $1,659,000 with a 40% off discount off the full price of $2,765,000. Next, we have the Gradi Amaggio for $1,707,000 with a 40% off discount off a full price of $2,845,000. Over at Legendary Motorsports website, you can pick up the Pegasus Torero XO for $2,023,000 with a 30% off discount off the full price of $2,890,000. And on Benny's Original Motorworks website, you can pick up the Debauchee Spectre for $419,300 with a 30% off discount of a full price of $599,000. All right, people, I think this is a good point to wrap things up. If you guys are interested in car-related content, check out the Test Drive series in the card above. The series is updated every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the podcast will now be released every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this episode. You can get in touch with me on Instagram at Gunter Browne. You can also email us at inquire.gb@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening this week, and please join us next week for another episode of the Commodity Podcast.